Right. SEAS is definitely shaping up nicely. Lots of exciting stuff, but not just the three classes inside. Azalea is definitely gonna LL with the pumps that we've seen so far, and that's, not all of them either. What am I? Is it this one? Yes, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so still, I think a decent chunk of cards to come over the next 2 days, right? And then bear until, Friday or Saturday, depending on your time zone for the world premiere. But yeah, I am kind of assuming we'll get all the really impactful stuff, and then the world premiere will be mostly for the treasure packs and the minor chase elements, which I think is the way it should be handled. Because generally speaking, again, although we value Majestic so highly, they're the play pieces, right? Polycranker as a Marvel or a Cold Foil should be the chase element, right? Not necessarily its Rainbowfall variant. But card-wise, Copper Cog is probably the first point to really discuss, right? So it's a very, very interesting item, right? Because it puts the what's the phrasing? It puts all the interaction on the cards in your deck rather than the item itself, right? So for instance, with hyperdrivers basically only gain resources, right? They're fuel to store resources, and then you boost, you get it back. And then we got that interaction where you have Construct Bank Break, you have Construct Nitro, you have some minor ways to interact with them, but not to the extent that we're not going to have with Copper Cog. And for that reason, I think Copper Cog is a very, very beautiful standout item, even if it wasn't unlimited, right? And it was just say 3 of a kind, and there was maybe a yellow version, there was 1 steam counter, 3 steam counters, and red, the same hyperdrive around. But unlimited, crank, 2 steam counters, so it lasts for 2 turns, meaning this is going to make up 2 of your cogs, right? Golden Cog should make up your third for a lot of the tap 3 cogs. But overall, since it gives agency back to the other cards in your deck, I think it's just a much, much more rewarding design than just items in general, because their one-dimensional use, right, makes them such a hard ask to put in your deck, because they have to be so impactful that they outshine the fact that they don't block, or they potentially don't have a great pitch curve. But Copper Cog being, again, somewhere between a +1 and an action point, right? Because that's what we're seeing majorly now, and it might have a third use. I could see them going down the resource use as well, being tap a cog for +1 is for 1 resource as well. So overall, I do really like Copper Cogs, and it's the direction that I am going to enjoy Mech, right? Because again, giving that agency to react and respond, as well as to set up and be rewarded, right, with these untapped mechanics is, really, really interesting to me. So, Golden Sky Warden, right? This is predominantly around Golden Cogs, but generally speaking, you can do a Golden Cog, which again, because of Golden Cog having 1 steam counter, most likely it only lasts for a turn. Technically, off of Cog in the Machine, if you don't want the action point, you can get it prolonged, right? So you could have 2 Golden Cogs for Golden Sky Warden in blocking. So the question is this actually a worthwhile card? So when this spends, you may destroy an item control. If you do, this gets +1. If a Golden Cog is destroyed this way, you get to create a gold token and repeat this process. So you can only do Galvanize as many times as you have Golden Cogs +1, right? So this being a 4 block, get a gold token back, it's okay. But I think it shouldn't have been that +1. I understand what they're going for, but all the other Galvanized cards being +2 for an item, I think it just being this really big block that, again, you have to clear all your items, you have to clear the Golden Cogs, which I don't know if they actually retain a premium, because so far this is the only real interaction specifically with Golden Cog, right? Everything else is just Cogs. So I don't know if they actually have that premium, right? So maybe this is just a funnel to get the gold back so you can keep them up. But we also have not way too much. We have a great amount of gold generation, especially in the pirate slot, that I don't think Golden Sky Warden is necessary. If Golden Sky Warden wasn't pirate mech and was just mech, he would be a bit more significant in my mind, right? Because I'd assume there's still going to be one other way to create Golden Cogs, right? If we have Cog in the Machine as 2, I would expect some rare or common that creates 1 Golden Cog, right? And then still gives other heroes access to Golden Cogs. The fact that this is just mechanized well also tells me that, well, Golden Cogs are universal. So yeah, maybe we see something in line with Golden Skywarden just in the mech slot, but I wish it was either 2 Galvanize for Puffin, or it was a Mechanologist card, right? Because getting gold as a normal mech, although it doesn't fit the pirate aesthetic because they're not pirates, it'd still be significant, right? With the potential float 1 resource or even just cycle. So yeah, I think it was good when it first came out, but now that we're getting the toolkit, it's a little bit outshined. Jolly Bludger. Very, very interesting. So far, I think Mech has the weakest Majestics, right? Because everyone else's Majestics seem just crazy good. So, Jolly Bludger, when it deals damage to a hero, steal that many items could be fantastic. It's definitely going to be relevant to the High Seas meta. That is just yoink a whole bunch of gold. But, again, with some of these effects, you're doing a 2 for 5 overpower. That can then become a 2 for 8 overpower, but you have to have 4 cogs, and that is a big, hefty ask, especially if we're trying to spread out what we're using cogs on, right? I think the thrice per instance, although it is definitely achievable, right? I think on average you'll be at 3 plus cogs easily. It's more, do I want to put the cogs into this? Do I want to put the cogs into that, right? So Jolly Bludger, although having a really strong effect, I think just doesn't do enough to compete, right? But, I may be wrong. The nice thing too with all the instances as well, right? They're not, they're poppers, because you can pump them, right, in response to blocking, because it's an instance, not attack reaction or anything like that, so that is really, really nice. So any of these 5s plus a cog is your 6, against where you need a 7, right? You just need 2 cogs, which is really cool. But, big standout one, Cog of the Machine. So, high octane light, right? Create 2 golden cogs. You may tap cog control if you put this to the bottom of its own deck. So you can crank both, meaning you do nest 1 action point. So it's pay 1 action points, right? So in everyone else, it's okay. In Puffin, it is ridiculous because obviously it satisfies Puffin's passive ability. So off of Cog of the Machine, you get the draw as well, similar to high octane, right? So yeah, not as far reaching because obviously you don't have that unlimited cap in a sense of action point generation, but still very, very nice to slot in, and definitely, I would assume, goes into every single mech deck. Cogworks, Dovetail, and Planetary Aeronaut is just these big payoff cards. So, Arsenal Disruption, beautiful. No, I'm thinking of a different card. Not Arsenal Disruption, Shred. Shred, right? / just destroy equipment. To me, I'm sort of thinking if there's going to be enough to sort of go boostless, you probably still take all the 4 boosts and just high value boost cards. But generally speaking, having this instead of, say, Pulse Wave Harpoon, if we're not getting to, enough cards, is definitely really nice, right? So, at worst, and it's not really worse, but at worst, destroys equipment, right? At best, it destroys a card your opponent's blocking with, and then just gets the chip damage across, right? Same with Cogworks Dovetail. The fact that this taps on cogs is really, really hard ask for your opponent. You throw this out, you've got 3 cogs available, so your opponent knows you can get this to a 8, right? Or a 7 with Go Again, so they really have to block it out, and you have that choice. Because you can take the 1 damage, if they get to 7, you can take the Go Again, still do other stuff, right? So, yeah, I'm really just liking the versatility that this is going to offer Mechanologist as a whole. It seems like we are getting majorly mech stuff, right? There's actually not as many pirate things as what I was expecting to so far. Versus, what are we at? 3, 4... 5, plus then the Harpoon stuff being strictly just Marlin as well. So yeah, mech is definitely looking really, really exciting. Other than that, just straight value, right? So Cloud City Steamboats, when this hits, you may tap a cog you control if you do put a steam counter on a cog, so that allows you to prolong a cog. Otherwise, twice per turn, tap a cog to get +1, so 2 for 6, that can become a 2 for 8, beautiful. And then Sky Simmer being your 0-4 or 0-5 or 0-4 Go Again, beautiful as well. And then the commons, right? So cogs are definitely worth at least a +1, if not an action point, and I think the action point is more significant. So all of these are really nice value for that 2 block. So they strictly replace stuff like Gigawatt, right? So untap a gun, untap a hero, untap a cog you control. The hero one, I don't know if Puffin actually really likes it that much, right? Because unless you're really starving for items, I don't think you actually need to Puffin twice. You'd rather just save the gold and have that as your guaranteed 1 crank a turn, right? So maybe you want the burst of cogs to do something, but again, you have to crank the golden cogs off puffin, so they're only lasting a turn. So you have to have something that gets value out of them on your opponent's turn, or some of the other, which I do hope we get more of. The if an item was destroyed this turn, it gets X, right? Like super. So golden cogs work with that because they get destroyed at your upkeep, right? I say upkeep, starting phase. What is it in Fab? I don't actually know directly. The funny thing about Cog in the Machine is that it lets you play cards like Subab / Ratchet up to their full potential. You play it with the action points you get from cranking to Cogs. You can hold it in hand to galvanize the Cogs for defense, or you can play it on the next turn when the Cogs get destroyed, trigger its effect. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I really want them to lean more into, is the if an item was destroyed and galvanized and that interactive play, because squeezing those extra uses out of items is how they make items good without, again, some form of outside of crank, right? This has go again, this lasts forever, but you can't use it the turn it's activated, right? So, yeah, it's such a beautiful card to me, Cog in the Machine. I'm glad I got into Mech when I did, because, yeah, it's looking really, really nice. All of them +4s as well. Yeah, so they're all, in a sense equivalent to a 1 for 5. So that's on rate with like Zipper Hit, Jumpstart. So yeah, beautiful value. Anything else for Mech? Nope. How many copper cogs to take? Probably a question. I mean, yeah, you could take a ridiculous amount. Try and just top deck. So you get 3 out, turn 1, something like that. That's obviously not going to really work. I think 9 at most, if not just like 6 somewhere, right? Depends again how many of these extra cog cards we get. If you can completely cut out boost, then copper cogs go up. If you can't, then it's just a healthy balance, right? The nice thing too is though, with copper cogs, obviously, then the Blunderbuss and Spitfire work for every mech as well. Because you're not just relying on saying find a card like Cog in the Machine or something else that generates a cog. You actually have the items to play out. So yeah, I do really like Copper Cog. Yeah. The tying the screws is definitely nice. Draw back the hammer, because it's only really for these 2 guns. Unless, again, we get some sense of errata, where, again, certain cards do become tapped, right, when you use them. In all honesty, the main string of cards that I can see them doing it for would be the dragons, right? Because they're the unclearest. There's definitely heroes that it could work for, definitely heroes that it doesn't work for. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see if they do anything with that. But other than that, right, draw back the hammer with the guns, perk up with just puffin, but tying the screws is just beautiful, right? So 1 for +4, that essentially gets you a +5. +1 to make it a +5, right? Definitely overshadows the 2 block. Plus then, again, because the cogs have that other utility, right? If you've used a cog twice in your turn for a +2 and then galvanized it, that's 4 value, right? That is beautiful. As for Gravy and his plethora of allies, right? So, God, have I done the counts? I don't think I've done the counts of how many Majestics everyone should be getting. I feel like 5, considering that's what we've seen. I don't think there's like 1 more each, but I guess we'll do that quickly. So there is 33 in total, wasn't there? 46, yes, minus the 13 from the expansion slot. So 33. So it's 5, 5, and 5 currently. Although I don't actually know how many has Marlon got. 1, 2, 3 so far. We're still missing 2 Ranger ones. No, because we got Rapid Fire and Barbed. Right, yeah, so 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so no base Necromancer cards. But still 5 apiece, that's 15, so that leaves 18. We know there's 9 amulets. Again, I'm going to assume they're all Majestics. That leaves 9. That gives us 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 left. Right, so 1 more Pirate. And 3 more generics would be my guess. Same, I'm not planning on playing Gravy, but yeah, we can definitely admire his shenanigans. I think they've done the allies really well in terms of their utility, right? And it's something that truly couldn't have happened unless it was tapping. So, chart the high seas, find a gold, find a pitch, right? Just straight value. Give no quarter. All of his cards are such above rate. I hope that, and we're not really seeing it, but I'm hoping that the majority of everything else he gets are 2-block. What about decks that play 2 attacks per turn against Necromancer? I remember how bad Kasai. Yeah, especially with stuff like this, give no quarter. You just throw it out. He should have a little bit of startup lag, but then again, with all the sport we're seeing, right, there's there's a decent amount of discard in Pirate. It probably is not going to be that hard for him to even set up some of the smaller ones, right? And then, again, all you're doing on your turn is keeping up with him. On his turn, he's just waiting till he gets one ahead, and then he starts chipping away. I'm very curious to see if he ends up being correct in terms of 40 life. Because for a lot of people, the 40 life was, well, the allies are more of a choice. You don't have to delete them, even though some of them have really substantial value. That you do have to delete them. I mean, Chowder. Where's Chowder? There he is, right? So, the fact that you don't have to pay for the gain 1 life means if you don't send something that way in, turn he's played, opponent's turn, your next opponent's turn. That's the 3 life back, right? If you haven't sent something that way. So, that to me is he must be deleted, right? Same with, like, Shelly. All of the non-pay utility effects are kind of crazy. And it's kind of weird to me that, like, Kelpie is pay 1. Because that it's useful in the correct matchup, but it seems weaker than obviously gain a life, or next action card you defend with this turn gets +1. But yeah, a lot of utility. Huge mix of stat lines as well, right? He has the aggro heroes. Is it? No. We have them all mixed up because there is just so many. Limpet, right? And then on the other side of that, you have like Whaler with now both the chess piece and give no quarter. Definitely seems a lot more playable. I think we're going into the immediately middle range format. Yeah. Marlin's Harpoon stuff, I think they're holding still. But in terms of Ranger cards, she seems kind of crazy. The Legendary, to me, doesn't feel as impactful as, like, Polycranker to Puffin or Dread Threads to Necromancer. But it's still nice. This just seems crazy. I don't know why it's double -3, right? Feels like it should have been -2. But, yeah. Give no quarter is just absolutely crazy. It's mainly because you can obviously send it into things that aren't 3 cost. So, Cuddy Shark out for free, Rigor Mortis out for free, Barnacle out for free, Shelly, Chowder, right? It's an instant swarm card as long as you have the graveyard built up. And he definitely seems like you will be able to build the grave up. The Sarong, do you mean? What did I get correct? But yeah, give no quarter is crazy. I mean, even these cards that, use an ally for something else, I get that you don't have the ability to chain allies, right? And I definitely don't want to see a weapon that gives go again now at this point with all the other cards we've seen. But these feel so unnecessary. Especially like the go again. There's just so much utility to the allies that they just straight beat out items to me. Everyone calls me crazy for not being on Fall in the Grave hype. Like, it's a good card, but I think it's a must. Yeah. No. How much is it that? It's like, I think last post I saw was like 150 a playset, which is just disgusting. But there's just so much going on. You've got the discard as well. Yeah, no. Okay. What seems like a must, right? So Chum, the fact that he can just ASL, ALS, yeah, ALS, Arclight Sentinel. I think they've. When was Rosetta? Their intention was it was good, but I think generally speaking, they've done everything to just. It's not necessary. It's definitely helpful, but one other reason I don't like it is it's still you have to find Call the Grave to find it, and it's not as dynamic as draw and discard or just generate gold to then draw and discard off of Gravy with all these other cards. Yeah, so Chum has to go. So that's 6 life, right? Moray Lefay, eel lady. +1 counter to a target ally. So that also feels like it's a must go, right? Because cost wise, how often are we going to be floating resources? Even just Moray off of Dread Threads every turn, right? So either your opponent destroys one and you Moray in response, or it's your turn, you discard an ally and you Moray, right? So that also seems like it must go. Whaler Humperdick is something you could leave around, but it is awfully scary for you to leave around, right? Is just that 11 coming one day. Kelpie Tangled Mess, definitely more utility. She might not even make it as 3 of in the deck. It might just be for specific matchups. Limit Hop Along because of the go again. Feels like a must. Scooby, definitely has to get deleted, right? Just, you may put a yellow card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, so recycle something. And yeah, that could, disrupt allies, but chances are you're not hitting allies with it. You're hitting something else. You get a gold token, so that's just fuel for Gravy. So Scooby has to go. So it's already 6, 9, 13 value of life, 14, right? And you can take them in triplets too. Barnacle, just damage, so I can see it being left alone. Chowder, again, the life gain will just rack up, so it has to go. Cutty Shark is the curious one. It's a bit too costly, maybe. Depends if we get an ally who has a substantial on-hit effect, or we get cards that give them a substantial on-hit effect. Otherwise, Cutty Shark I don't think is too necessary, but he does have a nice chunk of 4 health, right? And then Rigor Mortis, a nice ping gets him done. The 1 for 6 is definitely scary, just to end your turn. Shelly makes a card a 4-block, right? So definitely nice. And then Swabby, just more damage. Generally speaking, there is a lot of must go as soon as you see it, because they are either just so much value over the course, right? They just enable too many things, or they disrupt. So I don't know. It feels like he should have a bit less than 40 health, right? I get that their main worry is he just gets burst down, right? So 20 health for Blitz makes sense, but 40 health for Classic Constructed, I feel is... it might backfire. But still, exciting. A lot of marbles to collect. So far, I don't think there's enough non-boost cards, right, for you to swap over completely. And granted, all the remaining commons and rares have to be really on point, right? I'm guessing you still take the pure 0-4s. So what's that? Fast and Furious because of the crank. 0 to 60. One more, isn't there? Why do I feel like there's one more? Then still the 1 for 5, zipper hits. Jumpstart gets cut. I think as max, you can try and rely on hyperdrivers, but also the nice thing about the Cogs and these cards that move away from boosting is going to be a lot easier to maintain hyperdrivers, right? And try to get to that 3, because you've got Supercell and you've got Max's ability. So, you can easily get to Nitro, and then you have now, ways with Cogs, get action points, so it's a little bit better. But there's not enough currently for me to go, you don't take any boost, right? And then you also have stuff like Bias Update. If you're taking Copper Cogs, is nice value, right? So, yeah, it'll be a mix. It just means they're a bit more fatigue resistant, which is something I would definitely like to see. Currently, it is 8 cases, but I've already had 2 cancel. So I was at 10. Now it's at 8. So, hoping. I'm hoping I get all 8, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to be too bummed if I miss it, but yeah. It's obviously a really nice set to be a part of. Just on both the archetype support and then also the finds. High Octane getting unbanned. Problem with that is I can see the rationale, and I can see it also being limited in its number of copies, right? With the idea that everyone just jumps off boost, takes a mix of cogs and boost, but it's as soon as high octane comes back, just because of how dynamic the card is, it just goes, well, we go back to boost, right? And we just take anything that's super above right when it comes to cogs. I mean, like Palatair, just for its disruptive nature. I mean, it's just big T-bone at worst, let alone if you can actually get to the shred. Okay. Now, the most egregious card. Return Fire. When this defends, you may banish an arrow from hand. If you do, at the start of your turn, put it face up into your arsenal, and it gets +3. Why does this exist? Why is this 4 block? This is just such a disgusting card. So, yeah. +3 load and above rate block. I want Max to make a robotic copy of Polycranker. That's the exact same, except it's a Max Companion free crank for Banksy. That's the only reason I want it. Yeah, that would have been really nice, right? And again, it's the same sort of value as Puffin. Your opponent has the opportunity to get rid of it. So, it's not just infinite Banksy, but it would really, really help with Banksy, right? And you have that critical choice where you have the correct items, and you can really, really do what you want with it. But, oh well, it's just a Puffin thing. It makes me curious if it would be crazy in anyone else, because it's I can only think of synergy with Max and Puffin, right? It doesn't do anything for anyone else. It doesn't net action points. So, yeah. Shame, but it is what it is. Yeah. I'm glad it's not a defense reaction. That's like the only thing we can say about it, right? It's just a block. Thank God. But, yeah. I mean, even if it was a +1, right? I would still be nuts. It's a crazy card. Rapid fire. So, unfortunately, it means Death Dealer Marlin probably won't stick around for long. Is a shame because Death Dealer with like Loan Shark seems like great value to me, right? Pitch a blue, get 3 loads, and lose 1 card, or get 2 loads and lose 1 card, right? Oh well. I feel like we'll have a lot of wide straight away. Can we touch on Dead Threads? The Dead Threads is great better Tunic, right? So it's the first card that competes with Tunic and definitely overshadows it completely. Because it doesn't have the limited capacity. So, for instance, the God was a Bloodsplat Vest, right? Was nice, but obviously it only has 3 charges, so that made it equal footing to Tunic. But Dead Threads is just, it's crazy. So even with the tap mechanic, it's 1 resource every 2 turns. So, yeah. I don't know how they did Zens and then they looked at this and went, yeah, that's okay. It feels like it should have had some counter to it, right? So maybe not 3 uses, but 6 or something. But yeah, crazy. Or it should have been not by discard, right? It should have just strictly been when an ally enters the graveyard from the arena. Oh well, it's beautiful in EA too. Hopefully, it's not too hard to crack out of the treasure packs. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really high ticket item. Engrave Your Bones and Necromancer from this current iteration. There's one aspect of it, which is so far we have nothing that's just straight Necromancer. So if we do get another Necromancer, the cost won't contribute, but he does seem like he's going to be such an expensive hero, right? What have I missed? Let Riptide shine. Yeah, Riptide can shine for a while in his fancy new sarong. We ain't got shiny toys since Codex. People still think DD is getting banned, is crazy. If I don't pull this, I'm using Tunic. I mean, Tunic's still nice. Not as good. What's his daily right now? Because she racked up points recently, didn't she? Yeah. She doesn't go until a little bit into the high seas. Fingers crossed everyone just jumps ship, right? And sticks with Marlin with Death Dealer, and we can keep it. Because I want to have fun with it. Seems really fun. Other than that, Harpoon. So Bluefin Harpoon is interesting because it feels like it should have the variety of color schemes, right? We should get a yellow and a red one. And naming convention, it works as well. Red fin, yellow fin. So I'm curious if it will, and it's just a misdirect. But other than that, if it's just a blue harpoon, maybe they just didn't want, a plethora of 6 harpoons. But yellow seems like it also fit, especially for limited, since it seems like most decks will be pretty mixed, right? And want a lot of yellows and blues, especially, say, Gravy Bones. So, very curious if we get other Fin Harpoon cards. Other than that, go fish, right? So, no attack, attack, what are we missing? Blue cards, instants? But then instances, because play defense reactions, don't worry, unless you have a way to prevent defense reactions. I guess they could do blocks, but there's not enough blocks to make that work either. So, 3 big harpoons so far, I feel like is not enough. I wanted, I think, 6, right? So 3 Majestics and 3 rares / commons. But we do have all the other big pumps anyway, so maybe it's good enough. With Trench, Hammerhead's a 3, right? Although, I guess with the big arrows, you still want 3 of a kind off of Tunic, right? Still, what else is new? Bar Barrage. As additional cost to play this, you may pay 3 if you do this attacks an additional target. So 1 for 5, pay 3 to attack someone else. Feels a bit hefty. Feels like that shuts it out of wide, right? Although with Sarong, the intention is we take more blues. 2 cost? I feel like 2 cost would have been nicer, right? So a blue would have been Bar Barrage in its totality. I don't like you have to keep 2 blues. Yeah. 2 blues for a 10. That disrupts. So maybe you can get something pumped off of, say, Tunic. I think it just gets shut down too easily, right? As soon as you start losing tempo to your opponents, you can't let damage through, so then your hand falls apart, and then you're just sending naked harpoons. And when you're sending just naked harpoons, it just doesn't feel great. Because you really want to get the gold off of it. It almost feels like Goldfin Harpoon should have been pitchable to make up for it. But if it was pitchable in like aggro, that would be disgusting. It feels like Bright Lights, where they're trying to toe the line, make sure everyone gets a bit of something, but because of that, you get this straight opposition where the 2 playstyles don't really line up. Like Cogworks and Spitfire, I just think Spitfire is significantly better because either you're spending Cogs into big attacks or you're going wide. Whereas this 2 cost kind of shuts it down. Yeah, Summit being just crapped on. And then even once you get heavy proc, then it becomes okay, right? I mean, where's 6 for 11? Yeah, ours could have been a little bit bigger. So, yeah. I think Arrow just outshines. I think because of the unhinged reload mechanic of Marlin. And then the fact that they're trying to support blue more. And also just the crazy pumps. I mean, Death Dealer. It's 2 arrows. Return fire would be 3 arrows. You're drawing 1. So that's 2, 3. So you have 1 card left in hand to connect it all together. You take Sarong. You only have to hit 1 go again arrow, 1 blue. It's definitely easy. It seems easy enough to get to 3 arrow turns. So I think this is just going to be a bit too slow. Unless you can just hammer down your opponent from the get-go. Almost feels like they should have had some overpower trigger or something. Not dominate. Dominate would have been disgusting. Well, man, that gives them overpower. I remember everything. Only legendary I don't want is Mech 1. I'm calling it. That's what I get. I mean, Polly's a must for Puffin. And Puffin definitely seems like better Max. And Max is getting decent amount of support. I mean, I always like looking at the stats. Because I think Max is the most popular worst deck, right? Meta results. Correct one? Where's the most played decks? I know, I think I can still see total. Where is he? There he is. 3.6k versus... Where's Betsy? 800. And Klloo? Are these alphabetized? They must be. Klloo. 1.2k. Yeah, so triple Klloo. I'm pretty sure he's the most popular, unpopular hero. So maybe you'll be able to just trade it to something decently. What's it come? The Treasure Pack Marvel. That's the only problem. Is whether or not this is more common or less common than the Dread Threads EA, or what I'd assume. I assume this comes in something, right? They did not spoil it. It's small enough. I assume this would be EA as well. The gold-baited hook feels a little not as necessary. So I really liked it for Mech, just guaranteeing the golden cogs. But the majority of stuff we're getting is non-pirate. So the fact this has to be for pirate attacks, and then if Marlin again goes wide, that's not the Harpoon, so it's not pirate attacks. It feels like gold-baited hook might just end up being a gravy thing. So the generic, whatever it's going to end up. What did we get? We got Quick Dodge. Fortress was before that. So I feel like we're due for another Arms. I have to think what I'm going to do with the packs. You mean the gold packs? They're an awful waiting to happen. Yeah, you play the hook with the 1 card that gives your opponent gold. Tip the Barkeep, is that the one? Yeah, you may give a gold token you control to another hero if you do put this on the bottom of someone's deck. Gold Kiss Rum is also just another disgusting iteration. Where are we up to? Still on Ranger. Fire in the hole, next arrow attack, this turn gets +3, and then you may untap a bow you control. So light Tri-Shot, but better Tri-Shot. Fortunately. I don't think you get... Well, with 3 of a kind shenanigans, you could technically get Hammerhead off again. I don't think paying 4 for a +4 would be worth it. Although in that scenario, you can't play anything else because it's 3 of a kind. You can definitely make 1 really big arrow. Otherwise, with Red Spine Manta, being able to load up again. Is it Red Liner? You have no cards in your arsenal, put a card from your hand face up into your arsenal, go again. I guess because of the untapped support, Red Spine Manta would become the next bow after No. Surely you still take the Dreadball, right? Because Marlin has inbuilt reload. That still seems better than having a bow. You just take Death Dealer because it's a double reload with New Horizon. Three of a Kind, I do think, is going to be banned. Yeah, same. It fits that entire criteria now, which is a shame. Because I think I have like 9 copies spare. Because it's one of my favorite cards for shenanigans. But yeah. Yeah, no. There's so much hard speculation, right? And it's a free double reload with 3 cards to pitch in Marlin off of Tunic. That's exactly what they don't want from a draw engine, unfortunately. And yeah, I don't think it sees any amount of play, right? Although again, you would be, well, is it excessive with Death Dealer? So off of Tunic, you get 3 cards, so you go up to 6. You then have Death Dealer for 2 loads. You have 2 loads off of Three of a Kind, so that's 4 arrows. So we're at 3 cards, 1 for Perch Grapplers, 2 cards left. So you can still string together sizable arrows, yeah. No. I could see them bringing it back once Death Dealer goes, maybe. But it's probably just too much value. And they printed, obviously, something like Return Fire to try and rope that back a little bit. Monkey Powder, next arrow attack this turn gets +1 and Overpower, plus draw a card. So nice cycle, +1 and Overpower. I think that's pretty nice. Yeah. Which again, the comparison being the bow, the 2 arrows a turn, and then Marlin's ability on top. Yeah. I think Marlin's a bit more over top than Lexi. I think Lexi, because of the elemental packages, was still worse. But yeah, it feels like this should have been capped. Whenever you draw a card during an action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal, or just make it not work with New Horizon. If your arsenal's empty, put an arrow face up, and that way you don't get 2 off of Three of a Kind. You don't get 2 off of any draw 2. You only get 1. But they haven't done that, so yeah, Three of a Kind, I think, goes. Even once Death Dealer goes. We all know it's egregious. Especially if they're all sticking in blues like they are. Does it work in Puffin? Again, as long as we move away from boostless, if we can move to boostless, Puffin's fine with the pirate cards. Once per turn. And that way you can still get the double reload, as long as it's the first trigger. Right? Or they could have roped in the tap mechanic. Because that's the other thing. Do you care about Goldfin Harpoons in wide? I feel like you're just converting gold to a float and an arrow. Slash looking for the correct arrow. So I don't think you care about Goldfin Harpoons. Right? Because it's only a 0-2. Unless, of course, you're using it as, the discard fodder. Which then you kind of do. Marlin is a whole bag of cats to me. And that means it will probably end up being broken easily once people figure out the exact rate, right? Where's a draw discard? Draw a card to discard a card. So you pop gold, get a harpoon. This cycles, you get +4, you float a resource. Yeah. No. Hopefully they don't give her ways to untap. 1 cheat card a turn, I think, is fine. Well, no, not fine, but I think obviously not as bad as untap, do it again, E-strike, untap, do it again, something else. It'll be fun in Living Legend to try out with Art of War and everything. Lone Shark. Crazy card for all 3. When it enters the arena, create 2 gold tokens at the beginning of your own phase. If you haven't created or stolen a gold this turn, destroy this and lose 2 life. Unless you just got a card. But, it's just lose 2 life. And I don't think you care about 2 life with just how much tempo this provides for all 3, right? 2 turns of Gravy Bones ability, 2 turns of Harpoon Cheat or Searching for Arrows, and then 2 turns of Golden Cogs, which then essentially nets you back draw as well. Let alone then just using gold for the sake of gold. It feels like, I know silver wouldn't work thematically, but it feels like they should all be on silver instead of gold. Almost. Yeah, Lone Shark, another disgusting card. Are there any misses, majestic-wise? Bar Barrage definitely goes down, because it's a bit specific. The Harpoons, if Harpoons don't stick. Belly Bludger, Golden Sky Warden, kind of. Yeah, there's a few misses. Misses in the sense that they will just be slotted under everything else, because everything else is egregious. Make the Shark a merchant hero. Does look snazzy. And it would fit, right? Because we're missing a gold hero. Right? We have Captain for copper, Genus for silver. The Lone Shark for gold would be beautiful. There's still the chance of a hero lurking. There's 3 marvels left. And then all the stuff in the treasure pack as well. I feel like there's a hero lurking. And people would probably go nuts. Everyone on the Gravy Hype ready for them to cry against Dorian Ninja. Yeah, the free mask trigger, right? Yeah, because it's just hit. But that's what we want, right? Bad matchups. So, good. And same with Dory's counters. She gets the counter on Dawnblade. Yep, the barkeep. So, Gold Kiss Rum is the big standout thing here. Because... So, unless there's some sort of errata, the tapping part means nothing, right? Because no other pirate heroes are locked out of their abilities. Unless they make it once per turn, can't be tapped either. Oh, God, how would they have to word this to make it impactful? While tapped, your hero has blank box, but then that doesn't work for the pirate heroes and all their passive effects. Yeah, no. This just being a free go again seems ridiculous. I guess it's more so it's to limit, you can't just Gold Kiss Rum. But generally speaking, 1 free extender is really nuts. And then 1 free extender that's on a blocking card. A blocking card that you could potentially recycle back around. Yeah. Sunken Treasure. Once defense may turn a card in graveyard face down if it's the allocated gold token. So nice shut off. There's too much going on for Gravy. And my mentality was 6 in set, roughly, and then another 6-ish in the Armory deck, and you still compete over them. Not, how many are up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're at 36 allies, which means it's also just everything he's doing, right? These sort of cards are a premium. Generally speaking, your allies are your attacks. It does make me wonder what will feature in the actual Armory deck. Because you might end up with, 50-some allies to choose from in terms of full playsets. Which means that turning one of them off is not a big deal. Especially if you find it late game once the graveyard's established. I didn't play much Dromai. No, what do I have to do? No, it was on Dromai's box, right? The Go Again. So it's just all dragons have Go Again. But it does feel like you will have more of these guys than dragons, but not more than, say, Spectral Shields or Ash. Ash and whatever they were. But, yeah. Health-wise, I suppose you can play around Dawnblade in the sense of, well, no, because you still have attack reacts anyway to pump it big enough. But again, rough matchups, good. Don't want it completely dominant. Portside Exchange. Discard a card, then draw a card. Gala card, discard, display, create a gold token. So that, again, works with your Harpoon. So it's in Marlin, this is a load that cycles Harpoon. So you stay neutral in terms of card draw. And then still a blue 3 block. And then you get the gold token back as well. Yeah. Yeah, the uses for Goldfin Harpoon. The expeditions, a little bit of a letdown to me. I would have liked some sort of pirate ship mechanic of actually traveling, but Treasure Island's still going to be pretty nuts as well. Sea Legs, when this is discarded, create a Gold Kiss Rum token, so that in conjunction. Getting a gold token and a free extender. Plus then Brutes, 3 block yellow. It's pretty nice. It might be a fairly decent generic. The Treasure Island is the limited macro of the set, and it's kind of disgusting. 57 copper cogs, 3 system resets, a Symbiosis Pistol, and a Dream. Wow. I mean, they are blue pitchables. So, as long as you find them quick enough. God, that is disgusting. They all have upkeep, but you can last 1, so you play 4, then you play 2, then you system reset for 3. Yeah, that seems crazy. But that's fun stuff that we want to eventually try out. Dawnblade counters just hit dragons and then her lol. I wonder how I can get it against Gravy. My house on draw mode was 6 counters. Did I miss anything? No. So Treasure Island. First time your heroes attack each turn, put a gold counter on this. Whenever you're an ally you control deals damage to an opposing hero, move that many gold counters, then create gold tokens equal to the number of counters removed this way. So, the problem with this is it just seems like whoever gets to it first wins, right? In Limited? Like, it seems like, I don't know why it's equal to. Because you take a blue deck, or you draft blue, and then you just trigger this and you run over someone, something like that. It's definitely the type of thing I'd try, right? I mean, you'd also take, God, what does anything work with the pistol in terms of buffing it? No, they're all gun stuff, aren't they? Unfortunately. Although my mentality was copper cogs and nitro with system reset. Since if we're not taking boosts, we can, have hyperdrivers stick around, make it significantly easier to nitro, then system reset, and then dump nitro. But yes, great minds think alike. And Diamond Amulet. So we still know there's 8 more amulets. Feels like they're all just going to have rehashed effects from potions. I don't know, it's hard to speculate, obviously, there's only one. They represent each region, so maybe that's a tell. I still don't like it. I definitely, it feels absolutely unnecessary, especially with Gravy Bones now, right? You have the back alley. Yeah. Where you get this off of Chart the High Seas, some sort of pitch, right? Otherwise, you have Serve Lead the Charge, you have the fact you're playing from the graveyard. It feels like if you're playing this from the graveyard as your Watery Grave card, as one of your Watery Grave cards, it feels bad. Although, an item popping on board is definitely nice. So, I don't know. The amulets are going to be a weird Marvel set because I can feel they're just going to absolutely miss and stuff like the pirate gold foil loan shark, for instance. Is it up? No, but we know that every pirate card has a golden foil, not to be confused with a gold foil, right? Golden cold foil, however you want to phrase it. These are the standout cards, right? Conqueror, Loan Shark, Tip, even maybe not Sunken. So pricing in terms of absorption for all the different rarities is definitely going to go nuts this set. In terms of things won't land where Alcest necessarily hope, right? Because again, I don't think there will be people who want the full set of the amulets, right? It's 900 a copy. How many was it? I'd have to go to the keynote about it. But yeah, I think they just get unsung by everything else because these are still going to be crazy to pull, right? The majestic, golden, cold foils. Flying high, next attack this turn gets to go again, so very open-ended, very beautiful. Again, works with allies. Fiddler's Green, put into the graveyard from anywhere, gain 3 life. Gain 2 life, and gain 1 life, right? So it's still on race, and it's still something you can put with something else to, get the nicer breakpoint and still get the 3 life, right? It's not like Battlefield Bastion where you have to go Battlefield Bastion into a defense reaction or something like that. So I think I like them. I definitely like Sirens better though, right? Just Hopper, Brute Discard, 6 power attack if need be. It's just better, Farendale's Fighting Spirit, right? Fool's Gold. It's an interesting way to handle bubbles. It always feels like it should just be in the token bubble. Although maybe that would be a bit too disgusting. And, Gravy ends up just taking a 20 card deck where you take 10 Fool's Gold if it was in the bubble slot. On that, Burn Bear is our only expansion. I feel like this should have been reversed almost. So we should have got all the expansion slot cards for all the people, wanting to gear up for all the major events coming, rather than the short time frame. It's kind of weird that we've only gotten 1. So, how much is left? Reviews. Star City Games was the Copper Cog, right? So these have already come out. They just haven't been updated. So we still have this one. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, that could be all expansion slot cards. That's 1 from here. The Fabry as the actual schedule, no? Yeah, there we go. Exciting stuff still to come. Right, if Burns Bear is anything to compare it to. But yeah, overall, the set is definitely living up to the hype, right? Which is great because, again, Angels were beautiful, Dragons were beautiful, Evos were not, right? So we've continued to hear the Marvel spiel, right? And every set has been hyped up by James White. He does a very good job promoting things, but this is definitely living up to it the most so far. I don't think there's anything that's a true miss, right? Even the least impactful cards are impactful in the right circumstance. Means it's time for fun. Ooh. That is building cookie decks, more or less. So I was toying around with Max. This is where I'd sort of be at, right? So again, still taking boost, taking cogs, but now taking all the really good payoffs along with it. And the wrench, just for making cogs stick around, seems really nice. No idea how it would actually function though. Things like this is an awful start since we have no inbuilt cog generation. Although Puffin will have this issue as well because she won't have inbuilt cog. So maybe I have to up the cogs. But they are definitely nice at 0 cost, especially in max, right? We don't have to pitch for them. Just dump them and go. Because even this isn't the most horrendous turn. Like, Cog... maybe because of the no-go again, actually. Still, work in progress. That's not what we're here for. We're here for shenanigans. Right? So, Cog Nitro. We spoke it into existence. So you literally take... Problem is obviously blocking. But you could just try and high roll it. Right? Take Hyperdrivers, take Puffer Jacket. Probably take all the Hyperdrivers. Wonder if this would actually be decent in Klloo. Because you can carry it to fatigue, right? That's the nice thing about Nitro over Singularity. So the two that I'm going to end up playing, definitely Puffin and Marlin. I've never really been a fan of the board state stuff in well, actually, I like board states in the sense of combo, but not board states in the sense of this is our whole shtick. So I've never really played Illusionist, right? Well, now I probably won't touch Gravy. I can admire him from afar, but we'll leave it be. So I'm on a mech high, makes me want to play Puffin, but initially I just wanted to play Marlin, and I probably have to play Marlin in the first few weeks until Death Killer goes, because while it exists, it's definitely going to be fun. Too many cards mention Hyperdrivers. This is actually maybe better in Blitz, right? Nah, you die too quick. Do I even care about the blue? Probably. And then just a whole bunch of cogs and system reset. Not hater. You can call me illusionist hater. I don't like illusionist. But it's just it looks fun and interactive, but it's such a far reach from usual playstyles. And I don't want to wrap my head around it. Whereas like transitioning from, mech to ranger doesn't seem difficult at all. How many are you at now? 35, 6. Alright. It doesn't work per click. You can keep illusionist. So you either high roll off of this and find your hyperdrivers, your nitro, and your system reset in like 3 turns, or you die. It's a shame you can't take like quick dodge. Because that would be really nice in this. I don't think Marlin gets hit at all. In terms of tool, in terms of the banning. I think 3 of a kind is definitely at the top of the list for being banned. I can see them swapping the colors for Count Your Blessings with what we're going into, weirdly, but still keeping it as essentially 6 copies. Look, we'll get it right now. See? Cogs? Oh, it's 1. There's the Nitro to save. Ah, we're missing 2 hyperdrivers. Just a dream, right? And you'd system reset before Nitro, right? So before you'd play from Arsenal, so you'd have 9. So you can system reset for 5. So you get 4 action points to do not enough damage. Alright, let's do something proper. Which is Death Dealer. Death Dealer Marlin. And you have to take Tri-Shot, surely. For the shenanigans, right? I mean, if you could get Endless Arrow to stick, this is just utter... Like, Tri-Shot Loan Shark with Endless Arrows would be utterly disgusting. How many bubbles would I need? Uh, You're right, that's what I'm thinking of. Gotta talk about your brainstorming. Like, if we just had this, and then titanium bubbles, although I need way too many. Also, I should probably make sure shenanigans work. Yeah, they coded Loan Shark. I tried it the other day, and Loan Shark wasn't available. Alright. We'll start with just Loan Shark and Tri-Shot. And we'll work up to a proper deck, I think. Need titanium. I don't know how many we need. I just want to see how many endlesses you could trigger. Because Loan Shark and Death Dealer evens out, right? But then Tri-Shot doesn't. No, because Tri-Shot gets you 2 uses. So 1 Death Dealer goes into Loan Shark, 1 Death Dealer goes into Tri-Shot. You should still run out of cards. I don't think you have enough draw to go endlessly. That should be enough. Perch Grapplers, that's what I'm missing. Hey, that's why we're on open. Okay. I guess we do have to put thought into it. It is annoying. Nice thing too, though, is you can go from open back to class constructed, and it should cut everything down. Yeah, beautiful. Alright, we'll put thought into it. So, much like Bullseye, I think there's more aim interaction, right, for Sharp. Plus Sharp Shot blocks. What are we missing? Chests. Riptide, he should be good. How's he overpowered? If anything, the lack of trap love makes him worse, no? Although, fatiguing out into something crazy could be cool. I mean, in Marlin, not Tribes and Riptide. Tunic feels correct because of 3 of a kind, but Trench to clear Arsenal seems appropriate, especially if I'm taking Perch. Access to Overpower? Because of the 3 of? What is it? This, because of Monkey Powder. Okay. Have fun with that. I mean, yeah, sure, it's nice controlling which card they block with. So you take the full rainbow. Piling helix. Bolt and shots. And I'd assume all the go again arrows if we're going wide. But maybe Sarong is better. What else? Long shot? Nope, that's not the go again. Why don't I do this properly? Which is arrow. And I can read. Go again. I suppose that's correct. I don't know. The only Riptide I've played is absolute shenanigans with home, and then a whole bunch of trap draw. And that was sort of the reverse. You get them low enough where you can just fatigue out with traps. So if you were taking Sarong, I assume you just stick in high value blue arrows instead. But it feels like now I just take pumps, right? And that's my wide deck. What's the new pumps? Are they better? You can still take cards like Flying High too. Do they go again? There's so much to sift through here because there are such good cards. I mean, it feels like Fire in the Hole just because it's a 0-3 instead of a 1. Alright. We'll cheese this. Because I mainly just want... What am I... Oh god. Now Fire in the Hole's not working. Well, you don't have a great way to activate them. You have Fatigue Shot, you have Sleep Dart. Like, with Sarong, the main sentiment would be you shoot it first, force your opponent to block, and then that just leaves your next high-value arrow. So what do we have? So Drill Shot, meh. So yeah, Fatigue Shots, Hamstring, I guess, in the right one. Like, even though these do get easily blocked out, it's more that you're just trading 1 for 1, though. Right? So you go blue, Sarong. If you can pump a Bolt and Shot, I guess. Some other connecting go again arrow. I mean, Endless Arrow almost seems dumb here. Same with Bolt and Shot. Yeah, Blood Rots. You sideboard the Inertia and Frailty, maybe. Sleep Dart as well. That's a better starting point. So I'm going to say no to Drill Shots, but take anything that is actually kind of crippling. And Fatigue Shot seems like sideboard more so. Because yeah, the main idea, just force a block, and then go into your normal shtick with arrows, and then the idea hopefully there is it's better than Azalea's Dominate, right? And then at worst, you just pitch these away. I think that's all. Maybe Searing Shot? Headshots. Problem is, I guess it's nice when you use it with something else, but because Alright, we've gone from shenanigans to trying to do this properly. I still like the aim counter for certain arrows. Plus the battle worn. If we're using Sarong, Trench goes, you take Tunic. The only issue is you can't headshot with Sarong. And the idea is simply to stash a blue arrow, always. How many blues are we at? 30. Bond shot, good enough. I think you don't worry about bottom shot. In fact, you don't worry about any of the blue go-again arrows. You don't need the Arsenal stash from Piling Helix. Right, Endless arrows still should be correct. But we'll leave it be for now. I feel like you take the red go-agains, the blue crippling arrows, and then just a whole bunch of pumps. And then also, you know, like Red and Ledger, Remorseless, anything that's still devastating. Yes, we will. What am I missing? 3 go again, reds. Oh, Sick'em Shot can go. I have the new cards. So, Return Fire, yes. I guess you sideboard Barb Barrage. I mean, Monkey Powder, even though it's only 2 blocks, still seems really nice if we're taking such a blue deck. I'm gonna get the, these cards aren't available yet on Teleshare when we go to try this. Put that there. Put fire. No, we're taking Death Dealer. Fire in the hole doesn't matter. Return Fire should still definitely always be in the deck. Alright, and now arrows. Red. And ones that I actually care about. So, yes, I need to remember what's not Azalea. Because, yeah. Reptile did not see a lot of love by me. So, Remorseless. Anything else? Do you try to cram in the Harpoons anyway? I mean, they're still good as poppers, I suppose. And it's still a reveal. And in the right circumstance, it can be the gold generation, even if we're not going with the cannon. Mobilizing. Problem is, we have one aim counter trigger. So I don't know if I really want to play around it. Plan around it? Yeah. Stone Rain? Widowmaker seems nice if we are going wide. And I suppose you still take whichever set of arrows is bad. For your opponent, I mean. You take Headshot red. And does a 6 matter? I mean, it's a 6. I suppose you could take the yellow for the breakpoint to pitch. Feels like the aim count is there just for the +1. And then 12 slots left, and we just take pumps. The easiest way to fetch them. Gains. Gains Ranger. Just the 2 laces, and then release. I do like pointing the tip. We are loading face up, but it's 2 block. That's the issue. Are they all 2 block? They are 2 block. Maybe point the tip's correct. Where are we at? 3 more. Well, I'll just take release for now. And swap cards in. Question is, do we actually string enough arrows together? So, opening turn can be bad, but not horrible. We do have a go again, so it's Death Dealer off of Sikkim. Load the go again. Oh, oops. Crash shot's still in here. Not horrid. Oh, it is in the case that this is now the blue we're sticking in the arsenal, right? And this is not the pump. Well, I think it was pump. Right. That is a dot I did not connect. And this is just on hit. Yes, it is. Huh. See, to me, that kind of makes Perch an interesting turn. Right? Where you crack Perch and you just use Endless Arrow to clear. Wait. Are we back to shenanigans? Whenever our aim hits this turn, we are back to shenanigans. So, Endless, how do you get the aim counter, though? Probably also plays out. So it's Sikkim Shots into Widowmaker. I guess we are some Try Shot, because Infecting Shot would... Maybe you take Trench as well for this type of turn. Although, we have 3 of a kind into Death Dealer. What have they done? Okay. Interesting. Don't know why they gave the dummy more damage. So the only problem here is our considerable lack of pump and go again. Yeah, like that. Gets shut down. 3 of a kind we can't pump anyway. So finding the correct balance of blue arrows is definitely something. Also super zoomed in. But I want to crack this puzzle now. The target totalizer, whenever an arrow with an aim counter hits this turn, draw a card. Which gets you the reload for Marlin to continue with Endless Arrow. Because you don't even have to finish off the ally. You just have to have Endless Arrow with an aim counter. So how do we get an aim counter? That's the curiosity. There's the bow, but the bow is whenever an arrow is put in your arsenal from deck. Barbed Castaway. You have to turn a face down, arrow face up, so that doesn't work. So the only thing would be point the tip, which means you're not netting cards, right? You draw point the tip, you buff, you shoot, you get another card, you load Endless, you draw point the tip. With Endless Arrow, that also makes it a in a sense, Endless combo, right? Where you just continuously load Endless, point it, Endless, point it, Endless, point it, Endless, point it. The arms is 1, so you can get +1 card. Maybe I like that more. You take defense reactions can't be played as the bow. And then you just shoot Endless pumped. So you'd have 10 counters, 10 draws, 10 Endless Arrows with the pumps. The first endless would be a 4+9, right? So your opponent would have to ditch their hand to block it. If you could consistently draw into the point the tips, that could be interesting. Otherwise, Silver the Tip's the only other one that gives a name counter. That has to pull it from deck and then work with the Sandscale Greatbow. We lack blues. Or did we just like draw when we tried this? Seek, Death Dealer, Headshot, maybe one other arrow. Could have been affecting shot. Feels like you really want to take so many blues to make this consistent. If they had no card in Arsenal, you could almost expect for it to work. This point, this hit is a +3, right? Yeah. Plus, then you could also, I guess you could take Bullseye, make it a 14. But this is what we want to see. Shenanigans. Because there's already pistol stuff with High Octane. Alright. Let's take a crack at Gravy. See if I can evaluate which allies. That is the wrong loaded boy. Oh, he's so blind. There he is. See, I'm pretty sure I made decks to do this. Yeah. Alright. Head. It feels like you want the gold to kickstart. Like, aside from Marlin, I'm very tempted to take Crown of both Puffin and Gravy, just for the kickstart. Because Gravy, it translates to an ally, hopefully. In Puffin, it translates to, an extra card, which is definitely a big momentum swing. Or a +1 in the sense of a cog. The name is slipping my mind. The buff gives 1/2. Line them up. I think we saw it. Is it line them up? The line them up's from face down to face up. Yeah, which is the problem with Marlin. Point the tips, again, from that era where they muddled water, right? And it feels like it should be flip an arrow face up, give it a name counter, not target a already face up arrow. Like, I'm surprised it's one of those cards that didn't feel like I'm not. Ooh. I think we're back. Oh, the fun of Australia internet. Alright, Death Threads is definitely yes. Arms? What arms does he take? I guess it is the hook, right? Because it works with allies. And is it not Mage Master? Right? Do allies count as no-attack actions? I feel like they do, no? Definitely not the peg leg or time skippers. Although Peg Leg as a go again for the attacks might be more impactful than setting up the board. Well, I feel like you want to swarm the board with Mage Masters. We'll stick with Mage Masters for now. Hey, Barony. You think it's... Well, these are the options. It's either Peg Leg, Mage Master, or I guess something defensive. It's so weird. I guess it is also one block. Need be. One of those two. Now, we have to cut down on the allies. He just needs a little bit more tankiness before he gets his board set up. I can see that being the case. Six block value is definitely nice. So, Scuba seems like a must. And Limpets for the go again. Who's not at 3 of is the question. I like Chowder at 3, but that feels like I just zeroing in on the health gain value, and he doesn't need to be. Should probably just do these in order. Barnacle is just a 2/1/4, a 2-tap 4. So I don't see any harm in him being at 3. Charm. It's really nice disruption. The discard does help you set up more allies. And he's nice and tanky. I'm going to end up just putting them all at 3. I think Cuddy Shark is a bit too costly. I think you'd rather just more Ray over it, right? Not a fan of Chowder. But he's a pay 3, gain 2 life and a 3 body. That seems nice, no? Unless we see any interaction that needs allies to hit over, I don't think I actually like Cuddy Shark. I'd rather token generation, because at worst it's a 0 that makes your opponent attack it. And you have the option of generating the token. Helpy's, I think, just sideboard. I might like Moray more than I should. Yeah. I agree with Chum. It's just 3/2 life, and then a body. Is that not nice value? And then Limpet, just because it's the only one with go again. Rigor Mortis, 1 for 6. Sawbones for the prevention. Maybe it's just not the vanilla ones. Maybe that's as simple as it is. This is a lot of non-block cards, though. You get 2 life. Because you can tap it on your turn, because it's instant, and then you can tap it on your opponent's turn. Even when they declare it as the target. So it's always 2 life. Plus then you get whatever attack they send into it. So it seems like really nice defensive value. At least to me. Lobby. 2 for 7. So you kind of have to do the math on how much is generally being floated. Because I would assume you go Swabby or Rigor Mortis, depending on how consistently you're floating X resources. So far, there's no... Aside from, like, gold-baited hook, right? There's nothing that works off pirate attacks. Works off of ally attacks for Gravy Bones. Unless I'm missing cards. Stick you in the maybe. For now. Put Swabby in. I'll stick you in the maybe. And then it's definitely both of these cards. That's a no-brainer. I'll put these in the maybe. We'll come back to them. But we need to look at the discard. So, discard-wise. Am I crazy for liking trading? Has to be played from the arsenal, though. So, Portside Exchange definitely seems like a must. Rather than rear guard, you can take blue, which is fantastic. So it's literally just there for the defensiveness, right? 5 block plus get an ally into the graveyard. Should mainly be at the blues for starters. Sigil Circles also seems like a no-brainer, right? Activates Watery Grave and you discard. These are all cards that I would play in Melody, and obviously in Melody they weren't great value. I just played them because I didn't want to miss Final Act off of Silver. But it's nice to see them have some light shined upon them. So played from the arsenal, this is essentially rally on your turn or sigils, I guess, in some extent, right? Discard, draw, and have a blue enter. We'll put Drayden in the maybe. Do you care about the Gold Kiss Rum? If you're using Gold Kiss Rum, you're not using Gravy Bones, which is fine, because then you've also discarded something to Sea Legs. Really depends how many allies are sticking around, right? For you to swing with them. Three block opt. I can't think of the name either. Does she actually have that much more gold gen? What do we have? We have Go Again. No, that's Pirate. Sorry, let me go down. No, we don't have more gold gen yet. With Fool's Gold, I suppose. I was hoping she'd have more. If she was a pirate, she'd be fantastic. If there is more gold gen, definitely I'd end up reworking her. Yeah, we go look at the pirate cards and Loan Shark. Oh, there it is. Loan Shark's a yes. Anything else? I guess Sea Legs is in the maybe. Mischievous Meeps? I think we're done with the discard. For now, at least. Loan Shark is Pirate, if I remember correctly, but I may be wrong. Yeah, Pirate, blue border. Unfortunate. Would be fantastic. You just take all three of them and that's your final act combo done. Plus, the biggest thing that gold would do for Melody is mean you don't have to be an all-blue deck. Gain control of an item with 2 or less and get a gold, otherwise draw a card. Why don't we do it this way? We'll type in opt, and then we can view. Whispers? I mean, again, just these on-rate cards that then activate Gravy's ability, I think are absolutely fine. So I would put Whispers in the maybe, but strong maybe to stick it in the deck. Other than that, we have Pirates. And it seems like Pirate will make up the brunt of the attacks he actually wants to take. Like, again, if we're in yellow, blue, high tide, high seas just seems phenomenal. Again, I don't know where we're at with the Gold Kiss run. Sunken Treasures also feels like a maybe. So where are we at? 48. And it could be as simple as just take value reds to stay on rate at this point. Because all the yellows we discard are our allies, that's done. Only problem with the wager cards is you're wagering. I don't want to reward the opponent at all. The money where your mouth is could be interesting, since it does work with allies. Speaking of which, was Flying High 2 block or 3? 2 block. If we're banking on that, then we should just bank on Gold Kiss Rum. You have... Is it Back Alley or Break Alley? Back Alley. Starting Sake's actually a good choice, because you should be able to zero out gold, and then get gold back. This is a bit awkward because of the lack of go again. It's not... Oh, it's... Different alley. Is the +1 for the ally that's worth it, or is it just better to run the blue one for the free go again plus blue the grave? I think you'd probably just take the blue one, because you play the blue, it's your next attack, so you save the charge, and then it's activate Watery Grave. I don't think the +1's worth it. Unless we get a bunch more on hits, and it's a bit rough at this point, because I would assume maybe just an ally with a strong on-hit effect, but nothing else opposed from that, so it just seems to be straight damage and then defensive or general utility. So yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're taking Flying High for the go again, then it's blue, just for the fact that you can play it first. And then yeah, Call the Grave should be as well, just because it's Call the Grave. Back Alley Break Line. I don't know if the action point. So yeah, it's still the tough question of how many allies are sticking around and what are we swinging with? Because I can see cutting any small ally that doesn't do enough. So like, I can see Moray LeFay being actually cut because it's too slow, and you're just relying on, say, one utility ally sticking around, and then one ally that you're actually swinging with, and then something else, which then is where the tap for go again and stuff comes in handy. And then you don't need Gold Kiss Rum, you don't need Flying High, you don't need Lead the Charge. Oh, sorry, she should be in the inventory, I think. Well, maybe. Okay, Sift was what you were thinking of. Life for a Life, maybe, since you're probably going to be on the back end. Yeah. The on rates go agains as well. I think you do just take value blue, value red at this point, and they're just filled with go again. We're leaning into gold generation through the gold baited hook. And then there's minor amounts of discard. You do like life for a life, scar for a scar. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it being mostly yellow-red. You can definitely take Command and Conquer. Maybe you don't even need Scar for a Scar, since you should always have pitchables. Wonder how many of these cards are functional yet. Let's see. Beautiful. So we can actually play around with it for a bit. I mean, go for the discard anyway, because I can also just play them. And this is actually a really, really strong opening hand. I mean, in terms of going first, this is kind of beautiful. Except in that scenario, unfortunately. That's rough. And you go port side. We have Limpet, so I'm pitching a 2. You just go Limpet, attack. It's turn 1 anyway, so we're still just setting up. So it's just Limpet. And then Arsenal that. Opponent clears. Bit rough. And then now it's a yellow hand. This is where the gold comes in handy. Definitely Scuba. We had so much gold. Turn 1 as well. Similar to arrows with Marlin, where we just have to find the mix. I didn't put Call the Grave in. Now it's gone up by 380. Ugh. I still... The 2-block lets it down too as well. I think it's overkill. I don't think you need it. I think by the time you find it, it's irrelevant. If there was specific allies that you really wanted to fetch out, then I'd like Call the Grave more. But I don't think any of the allies are... You must get this on board first, right? In that sense. Still, if you have it, or include it. Amulets. The other... I mean, assertiveness does work. Although you're not going to hit attack action cards with it too well. Ignition's nice as well. See, I'm hoping we get like a Watery Grave version of some of these. Because some of these abilities would be really nice. You want blue items you can pop first, especially for that bad turn. I would highly assume that the gem is just pitch for gold. So yellow, it pitches for 2, it creates a gold token. That's as simple and as useful as it needs to be. And it's just pirate. And it sort of just mimics the Fool's Gold card. Well, I think I had slightly more of an interesting design at some point. Let's see if I can find it. Need to come up with a better labeling system. Here we are. So, my thought was Cursed Coin. When this is pitched, if you control no gold tokens, create a gold token. Or if this is pitched to pay for gold, create a gold token. Right? So it's essentially the same, but requires the either input, right? Pitch it into gold for another gold, and it's cursed, or pitch it into nothing. When you don't have gold, you get gold. But I would highly assume it's just going to be straight, similar to this. Pitch it, and you create a gold, right? So instead of fool's gold, where it's discard, it's real. Yeah. And it'll be strong. In all three, I think. We'll do it this way. Items. Item. So, what do we have? Don't need recompose because we should hardly be on reds. When attack you control gains exactly one from an effect during the reaction step. Nope, that doesn't work. I was thinking that with Cutty Shark. But no, it's an action. Find rather the rearguard. Tempting, but you'd have to clear your hand. You want an amulet you can pop first. Still don't know if I really like this. Just because of you want to discard it to then play it from the graveyard, so then you're using up the compass proc to get an action point. So it's just there's nothing really to it. There's no advantage. I like Angie Pots. The fact that again activates Watery Grave and then you put an ally into play. Maybe a bit awkward to use. We had more go again on the allies, so that you're like setting up items or doing anything at the end of your turn was a bit more effective. Suppose they can go in the maybe. So we see more cards. Cremation, banish, tights, no. Balance could be interesting. Beginning of your end phase. Doesn't do anything for the Watery Grave proc. But I can see Gravy Bones being a deck where your opponent keeps their arsenal. Depending on what the other amulets have. I can definitely see them slotting in. But I could also see another playstyle of Gravy Bones being strictly just the utility allies. And you're just sending big attacks. And then using them. Because instant. This is the only one you really want to attack with. Instant. Go again. Yeah, so all the utility effects so far are just instant. So you're just relying on the value out of that and your opponent having to attack into them rather than attacking you. Three cards left, so to speak. I guess it's just more value sixes. We are actually a little bit light on blues. Probably just start with the Majestics, that makes it easier. Browse the Ancient. You get big enough with the allies? You'd have to play it before you went into discard? Eh. Actually nothing that I super like here. Maybe locals. Water Grave isn't instant or anything, no? No. But it still shuts down your turn, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know. Call the Grave either. Rosetta was like one of the sets I opened the least of. That and heavy hitters, unfortunately. Give and take. Depending by an action card, you may put an action card that costs less than from your graveyard on top of your deck. Go again, your opponent has to block it. And then you can recycle something of significant value. It's either chip damage, 3 block, or get Loan Shark back, get Sigil back, get Rally back. Yeah. That does seem nice. Does Rails have to be attack? I thought it was just had to be equal to. It is. It is number of attack action cards. Damn. So no Rails. Still feels like I want more blues. Suppose there's no harm in the wage gold. Except for, rewarding your opponent with gold. I'm gonna go left field. Flying high, and then we stick in the big boy. Now, this is kind of cheating since the bot doesn't attack back. But I'm kind of just curious how quickly we can get allies out. So I think Scuba's always the correct choice, right? It's a 0 cost, and its attack is what you want. Question then becomes, are we attacking with it straight away? Oh, that's beautiful. That's a third interaction that I did not picture. I was thinking just discard from hand or your opponent destroying them. But no, it is any sense of putting them in the graveyard. So chart, Call the Grave. I'm sorry, Joshua. This is now I'm thinking Call the Grave is a bit better with dead threads. So it's definitely swing. With it's definitely swing. Past target. Oh, okay. It does not like scuba. Yeah. Oh. Was my internet going again? Also, if we're going to be on Talishia, I should probably swap over. Oh. Try that again. Hitch. Attack. Ah, there we go. Should play the sigils first. Oops. Sigils. Attack. We're at 2 gold. 1 minion on board. Which I would assume, given Scuba's level of threat, your opponent does clear it. We have given no quarter to play. So, Whaler it is. We get a blue. We can play Whaler. I kind of do want a little bit more gold again, just for flooding the board, I think. I mean, it's gravy since we have the gold, and I want more blues. Limpets. Yeah, just having one more consistent action point a turn, I think would be a bit nicer. Because so far it's play 2 or play 1 and swing in that sentiment. But, I mean, this is turn 2. Even if our opponent dealt with Salty, dealt with us, this is kind of a disgusting hand to look at, right? I have access to 6 cards, plus my arsenal, plus a gold on board, plus potentially an ally to swing with. That is a little bit excessive. I guess you continue the draw discard. I like that more than... No, I feel like I want to pitch these. So I definitely want to play Limpet, since I can swing with Limpet. I mean, Give No Quarter feels like overkill here. God, so many choices. I mean, we'll grab our resource, because why not? I am going to Mage Master. That is the wrong order, though, because that would trigger with Compass. There you go. Limpet. Give No Quarter. Mage Master. Whaler. Hitch Rally. Beautiful. Is this from the graveyard? No, so this is just the next 2 you play with Watery Grave. Costs 3 less to play. So I should be able to, well, he's not expensive at all. So I guess it's just Portside since I don't need it. There's a go again. So we don't have the resources for Limpet, though. We don't have the resources for any of them. So I guess it's Salty. Arsenal, and then get ready for a big turn. Right? Oh. Now that's disgusting. I mean, I wish we had more resources. I mean, I can fish for blues, which are nice. Right, so I guess that's the correct thing to do here. It's not really a blue. That's not a blue either. I am a little bit worse off. But yeah, we can Flying High, Command and Conquer. And then, I guess, Limpet. Save the Conqueror. That was a rough turn. I think more allies need to be cut, and we need a bit more blues. Because we have big payoff cards like that. And the other problem is I really want to, ditch a blue before going to something like Conqueror. But there's no reason not to, yeah. Go Conqueror. And then just end and Conqueror anyway. The damage? No, that's overkill. I suppose I could Whaler at this point. No, I'm 1 off. Is there a way for me to get 1 to the graveyard? No. So it's play Loan Shark? No, it's Stash the Command and Conquer. So it's Limpet. And then Scuba. Get a gold. So even when we miss the gold, things are not that rough. The board is still egregious. This hand's rough. Yeah, so it's drawing the whole bunch of allies that is still the problem. So definitely taking way too many of them. But we've still been able to send, Command and Conquer, Conqueror of the High Seas. And that seems good enough while our opponent is trying to deal with our board, right? Is it from the graveyard? Water Grave from... Yeah, that is from the graveyard. So right now, Gravy Bones. Discard that. Blue hasn't entered, so that's the rough spots. But we gain a resource. We might as well Flying High. We got Limpets. Flying High. Another CNC. into limpet, into limpet. Yeah. This is a hard... this is not a great version of the deck, and it's still doing work. And I'm pretty sure I could have gold baited Hook off the last limpet there and sort of been fine too. Discard a Whaler. Find a blue. Perfect. So I can Whaler again. But, okay. What we've learnt is the go-agains for the allies to string together is definitely going to be nice, right? So I do kind of want that. Then also makes me think you take the smaller end and you go wide. Maybe Give No Quarter actually doesn't function as well as I'd like. Because in this scenario, we go Swabby. We're ending with Chowder. So it's just play out the limpets. Or maybe it's draw here. So for the... You have so many options. This is why I don't want to play Illusionist. It does my head in with the options. I don't want options. I want a little bit of flexibility, right, in interactive play, but I don't want to just vomit my hand and then hope I've done it correctly. But yeah, we do want the go-agains. Less so on the... Well, I like Mage Master because it's such a one-cost, right? Dory's eating well. Fang gets screwed. Because you pump into an ally, which sometimes will be good, sometimes will just feel bad. And you don't get the Filthy either, right? Because marking won't work. Will marking work on allies? I need to read Mark. I'm pretty sure Mark is Mark. A hero, no? It's a hero mark them, yeah. Yes, I'm missing the proper go again extenders. Paddle faster? Paddle faster. Another maybe. So, paddle faster. We didn't say give and take. The Reds also kind of screwed us up. I think it might just be Command and Conquer and Conqueror of the High Seas just because they're disruptive enough. But then every other red... you know, I shouldn't take that out. You want small go again? Like Scar for a Scar? Maybe Scar for a Scar is too risky. And then sort of the cheap minions to swing with. We didn't really have to play a blue, did we? I mean, lead the charge for the action point does seem nice. And who are we cutting? Whaler? Seemed overkill. Problem is now, Give No Quarter doesn't really hit too many. Should be fine. Anything else? Maybe it is just the give and take. Maybe they're just the reds we take. Paddle faster is a way to utilize the minions. And then Conquerors, because Conquerors, and they seem fantastic. Alright. Apparently give and take. Oh. Didn't want to go. Alright, let's see how much we spew out now. And then we'll do Puffin. And then we've done a little foray into all of them. Yeah, so that's a hand that can happen, apparently. Yeah. Okay, it's turn 1. I don't want to save the Pelfast. I shouldn't really save the Give No Quarter. Well, Give No Quarter activates, I guess. This is why I think the starting gold from Crown is going to be really impactful. Because I could have also tried to draw out of that awful hand. It being turn 1, I don't think is too significant. But now we can go... I can play everyone, because they don't have to be played from the graveyard. I can lead no charge. I discard one of them. Go lead no charge, give no quarter, Sawbones. Did it eat my action point? It should be at 2, no? No, 1, because I played the second one. Right? And then we could Loan Shark for the gold tokens if we want. There's no reason not to. We're saving the lead the charge. And then we can still attack with Chowder. Not horrid. Oh, actually, no. I can Dread Threads. Instant. Gain a life. Sawbones. For a 6, which is much better. Arsenal. Sends a 4. We have gold for Loan Shark. From Loan Shark. Could have chowdered. You can still chowder now. So even if they cleared them, I think we're still in a very healthy position. I can do the same thing again with Lead the Charge as well. Because that's the blue I play. So we go Gravy. We discard Cheapest / useful. Chowder? Probably Shelly. Pitch side of things is a little bit rough, so I don't actually have to play Lead the Charge, I think. Well, I do want to stash the Command and Conquer, so I guess it is still Lead the Charge. Pitch the Sigil in this scenario for the resource. Hope to draw a blue, go to 4. That's not bad. It's still something I can do. I really want stuff I can swing then. So Shelly was the wrong choice. Because Chowder here for an extra swing would have been better. But I've already done it, so... Red Threads gets us to 2. And then we can go... I didn't actually need the 2. For 2 action points. So I can still play Sawbones. I can then paddle faster. I can then Chowder. And that's my turn. I will lose the 2 life, not discard. Stash it in the arsenal. And so far we've been putting out 2 minions a turn, and still being able to swing as well on top of that. Decent. Chart the High Seas, get me a blue, beautiful. So we can play Conqueror. Just seems correct. Charts entered, so we've played a blue. So we Gravy. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Get rid of a Swabby. Alright, forgetting about Compass's ability. That definitely helps a lot better in terms of structuring the order. Oh well. Scooby. But now we're back into the scenario of I don't have any ways to extend them other than saying using peg leg. Or is it not to Dread Threads? I guess you go peg leg, Bones. And then Sawbones again. Or I suppose I could go Scooby off of Rigor Mortis. Go double gold. And then that's still... That's 10 damage pressured, 1 put out this turn, plus gold generated. Hey Zidane, thanks for watching. I'm watching now. Yeah, so it feels like a few more extenders to actually play off of the board and maybe cut out some of the costly ones. Is 1+1 decent enough for Shelley? Because the nice thing about Chowder in this scenario is I can either gain the life if I'm not going to use it, which I haven't been doing, but you know we would, or attack with it each turn. Yeah, we'll dabble with Gravy, but I'm not going to adopt him. But yeah, he's going to be fun for anyone who wants to pick him up. Flood the board with a bunch of ghoulish zombies. Dead threats is just disgusting. The fact that this ups your attack from a 3 to a 6 is pretty crazy. If only you had a card like System Reset, where you could just generate a whole bunch of action points and then go nuts. I should be looking at the top, I'm not. I was just thinking about how we get Conqueror off. I don't know if that's even correct. I mean, an 8 with Go Again feels like it should just be correct. The blue hasn't entered, which is bad, but not awful. I suppose you just pop the gold. Don't get a blue. Feels like, yeah, a little bit more blues would also be nice. Limpet's just such a connector in the deck. Like seeing them late. Maybe that's specifically what you want with Call the Grave. Although again, Scuba for the gold seems nice. I guess you just swing as big as you can. Why is this 3/4? Not bigger? I guess they value the one block a lot more. And you just make sure not to hit allies. Well, it's not the end of the world. Trading the gold. Ooh. Yeah. 18. God. Nice valuable turns while still assembling that. So far, we'll do it one more time. But getting him up and running has not been a difficulty. And again, we'll call this a scuffed deck because it's definitely not optimized. I might play the armory deck. That might be where I settle. So like turn 1, all we're really doing is setting up. So that's easy enough. I mean, we can swing with paddle faster too. I mean, in terms of just pressuring, if this wasn't turn 1, this would be absolutely disgusting, right? You play Scuba, you play paddle faster because we're not swinging with him. And then you could just swing with Command and Conquer as well, right? But I suppose we just gravy. And then set up Sawbones. And then Arsenal the Command and Conquer, right? That was our turn 1. Turn 1 was set up 6 life, essentially. Swing for 4, stature Command and Conquer. God. At least this turn's a little bit more rough. Yeah. I can't see Crown Dominion not being a must, just for the guaranteed start. I want to play Lead the Charge. It means I'm discarding the Lone Shark. I should Compass. On top is a Swabby, which means we're drawing discarding him, so it's not a big deal. Means I kind of want to play the Lone Shark. Actually, it should have been discard the Sawbones instead. Play Lone Shark. mean, I can still just lead the charge. Command and Conquer. And then Dead Threads into a 6. Okay. That was an egregious turn. I think lots of people are going to really enjoy Gravy Bones. I mean, I'm already getting sucked into it more than I thought I would. Oh. Maybe he replaces Marlin. Maybe I play Marlin until Death Dealer goes, and then we swap over to Gravy. Choose a card. I want the blue, but I don't want the blue. So, Rigor Mortis can go. Alright, Sigil entered the graveyard. That's the blue, of course. Of course it is. Look at the top. The yellow. So it might as well. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The lowest cost can go. How can I get the most cards? That's the question. I guess it's the 2 for 7, just so I have the biggest stat line. Play Sigil. I could still peg leg floats 2 to swing. Is that good enough? I think that's good enough. Right? And then we go lobby into... Do we have a 0? We don't have a 0, though. I can draw for a blue, and then be rewarded. It wasn't a blue. So it's probably just Sawbones. Into nothing. A good amount of gambling as well in this. Although, it's not nothing, because I just set up Rigor Mortis instead. I just continue to follow the board. So the fact that you can either continue attacking, if you roll correctly, or just flood the board, is just disgusting. But I definitely think I want the Armory deck to kickstart the deck construction side of it. Alright, we've got one hero left to look into. And that is Puffin. Which seems fairly simple as well, because it's basically taking the max deck, in a sense, and tweaking it to Cogs. Definitely Poly. Equipment, though, is definitely a curiosity. So I'm half tempted to just stick Nitro in there with Hyperdrivers. It feels like you can get away with non-boosting, right? Since we have the Pirate Backbone as well, and then eventually you just Nitro as Puffin. Would be interesting. But equipment-wise, it also limits all the boost stuff. I still think Crown, considering it translates to a draw most likely, and a cog setup for something, is good enough. The Crown... Klloo Foundry Hearts is the problem here, right? If we're not boosting, we can't use this to gain a resource. So if it's not Foundry Heart, I guess it's just Tunic. Right? Puffer Jacket for the Hyperdrivers. That's, again, tempting. And we take little bits of boost. Arms. No big payoff. So it's probably still the gold-baited hook. There should be enough pirate cards to still make it work. Although it probably gets cut. And we go to, like, Goliath Gauntlet or something else big. And then that leaves legs. This can whiff, so not good enough. Guess it's a quick dodge, just for the block. Alright. Fire. Definitely our High Conqueror. God. CNC's in mech. Gonna be good. Gold's still relevant. The go again, I think, is more relevant. Especially if we don't have to make cogs. Jolly's a maybe. Same with Golden Sky Warden. Might not just do enough. Portside Exchange. It's 3-block blue, there's no reason not to, I think. Then Cogs. So, we like untapping the gun and untapping Cogs. Simmer. Oh, it's a... All of these are... Yes. Cog in the machine, yes. Let's put a steam counter. Yes, 2 for 6. That becomes bigger. How many copper cogs is the question? I'm going to start at 9, I think. Maybe it should be a little bit more. Maybe 12. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. Taking 12 in Puffin to begin with, I think we'll try. Which is basically our entire blue backbone. But now we get to run stuff like Command and Conquer. And it's basically like a 4 into a big. Question is, do you risk boost at all? We go mech, go again. There's gonna be nothing, isn't there? Yeah, I think it's gotten unfortunately a bit ridiculous. Hopefully it's not like Monarch. It doesn't feel like it is. It feels like this is proper. But it was definitely a set you had to pre-order. Unfortunately. Amplifier. Dominate something. That's interesting. Why couldn't you be a pistol for induction chamber? Is it just buffs? Super yellow? Well, it does look like the armory deck will be a great starting point. It should hopefully stand on its own. 9 cards short. Basically just golden cogs. I'm just going to take stuff you normally wouldn't take. Line strike, and then sink. And at this point, shelter. 60 card mech deck. Missing some staples. But I think I roll away from boost and see how well it performs. Yeah, he does seem like he's going to be really popular. Case example. Pretty sure Cog in the Machine was revealed before some of the latest Necromancer, right? So, yeah, shame. We can do it this way. It's not as fun. So, Cog in the Machine. Problem is, Soup Up's delayed by a turn because of the steam counters. But we do have the gun here off of Cog in the Machine and Tighten the Screws. It's this turn would basically just be set up. Well, it's hard for them to replace Crown of Dominion. Because there's nothing wrong with it as it is. The Royal Tag does nothing, so stat line wise, it's not really worth anything except for, Dromai. The gold at this point now translates in mech to a +1 or an action points, as well as draw for Puffin specifically. So that's insane value. Gravy Bones, it's a draw discard. That's insane value. Then even for the Harpoon, for Marlin, it's good, but it just gets outcompeted by New Horizon. So, them sticking block on it, or the only other thing would make something like Gold Beta Hook, which isn't unnecessary. That's a bit better. So play the cog, or pitch the cog, I guess, because we would have set up before. If I had Puffin, Soup Up would be up as well. I feel like it's good enough without the block value. His equipment's what, 2 points on average, roughly? Then you get the big utility things. So this is essentially worth 2. I mean, at worst, generally speaking, it's a blue plus float. So it's a blue, float 1, and draw. So cycle +1. And then again, for all the pirate heroes, I think giving it any block value would have been overkill. It is kind of weird that's just an empty slot. If it had 0 block value, you could play around some things. That'd be nice. Feeling like we might have to stick in some boost. Although, this is where Puffin might be a hit or miss, right? Because there's definitely enough for it to stand on its own without boost. But boost might just still be above rate. And if you're taking boost, you can't take anything. I really wish we got a headpiece like Visor. That was just more consistent. Z first, right? So it doesn't have to be the draw top portion, but just something you could consistently opt with, like Skullbone Crosswrap for boosting would have been fantastic, especially if we are getting to the point where we're dabbling in not full mech cards. But there's not much else we can do since the cards aren't available in Talishare yet. Well, we've been chatting. Has there been a... Oh, where's the time frame? Any more? Fridays. I think they've gone by name now. Is it Cloud City I can cut? Maybe we can trial it a little bit. Yeah, Alt Art Crown. Or even a crown that made people pirate. Although then it's a little bit different since Royal isn't really a talent, it's a trigger. What cards do I have to cut? I have to cut the copper cogs, so no, it's not going to work. Basically, I have to gut everything in the deck. We wanted to trial it. There's so many cards that would be cool with them, Pirate Flare. And the treasure pack, the surprises, I could honestly see them do it, right? Where it's a whole string of legendaries that makes sense. Like New Horizon Pirate Art, Crown of Dominion Pirate Art, even Tunic Pirate Art. And it would help with some of their issues. Because legendaries, again, to me, legendaries have hit the mark, but we still need some sense of pressure relieving effect, right? To bring the Rainbow Pulls down a bit more. I mean, Tunic still... How much is Bright Light's Tunic now? Yeah, look at that. Like, Tunic's due for another reprint at this point. Flying High. I want to say Runeblade, weirdly, right? Especially Shadow Runeblade. I think it's going to be interesting in Vincent. The guaranteed go again, play from your banish zone. Other than that, who else? Guardian. I could see kooky Guardian builds. It's attack too, so you can use it with Sledge. Crazily, if you wanted. But yeah, we'll spiel about this since this will be the main, thing to find out at World Premiere, the treasure packs, right? So, where is it? Where is it? Japanese, booster, expansion, blue. Alright, yeah. So, the different lost treasures, right? What was the math? 250? Okay, print size, maybe? Maybe a little bit more. But 250,000 means there are 250 lost treasure cards, right? The special lost treasure cards. We saw 60-ish of them. So that still leaves a lot of cards. So alt art legendaries would be top of my list for stuff they could stick in there, right? So it'd be the hardest to find would be the signature stuff. Next would be the what were they? Test prints. And then we'd have again whatever else is in the treasure packs. My mentality, alt art legendaries, and then the 900 amulets, whatever they were, right? That again will probably be hit or miss. And then that would make up the pool, because the pool currently doesn't work, right? With the rates and the print size. They're 43 different. So yeah, I'm hoping it's something snazzy like that, right? And it could literally be every... How many does that work? Every legendary headpiece has a different pirate hat would be, I think, something I could see them doing, especially since, you know, random hats have been floated a lot. Where's head? I'm always so blind, even though it's alphabetized. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So if it was 18, now I have to pull up how many cards we're missing. Treasure packs. Where are you? Is that one? Nope. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. And then I do that. Nope, that's the wrong one. Oh no, it should be that one, but it's on the wrong monitor. There we go. Yeah, beautiful. So, speculating, right? 16 signed cards, or 17 with the library proof, right? So that's the 17 exclusive one-offs. Done. 43 in total, plus the 17 uniques, right? Means that... Now I have to do reverse math. There's 26 left. We have the Marvel Heroes, which I'm going to count as one, because otherwise the math doesn't work out, right? So there should be 250. There's around 200 left. That would put it at how many copies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So roughly 10, right? 10 copies of each headpiece in a pirate art. It'll be a lot of work for them to put in, but that's like my out-of-the-box speculation for what's left in the treasure pack, right? Every headpiece today in pirate fashion. And considering some of these are the most expensive legendaries at the moment, would also help slightly, right? Bounce is expensive, base is expensive, scouting is expensive. I guess the stuff that no longer matters isn't so much. But yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of last minute speculation the week going in. I can't think of what else would be, you know, decent enough to be in that treasure pool, right? Along with all these cards that wouldn't then just feel, you know, kind of disappointing. Because there has to be something. There has to be something in a decent amount. Still less than the amulets, but more than everything else that's been shown. And that's what comes to mind. And then, you know, they'd have the artwork to then do rainbow foils at some point or something else, because again, how the reprint policy works, if they're in cold foils, they can do the lesser prints, right? So they can do them as promos, they can do them as gold foils. lots of feasible things for them to do. But people might get upset because of the whole all art thing, especially if it's the original. So I could see like Masked, Arcanite, Skull, Wrap not being in it. But it's what I would like to see, right? Just a whole bunch of pirate hats, one for each current legendary. But aside from that, I think that will do us for today, right? We looked into L3, we looked into the spoilers. Yeah. More to come over the next few days, so probably be a delay before I do another spoiler video. But other than that, anyone hanging around still or watching post? Thanks as always. More bathing suit old arts. Not in the treasure pack. Again, fun novelty promos, sure. It's there for people who want to go out of the way to get them. But I'm at here with the puns, right? In my dark fantasy card game. I don't want to be, a lot worse with bathing suit art. So yeah, pirate hats, chef's kiss. Anything else? As long as it's not bathing suit arts or novelty shtick to go along with, again, this whole Grail plethora of cards. Cool. But time will tell, right? Again, it has to be 200 some cards of something else. So for all we know, it could also just be a hero like Enigma, and there's just 200 copies of that hero. So it's get one of these or get one of them. Yeah, I think if it didn't have the art and the mechanics to back it up, I'd be a bit more sour on this set too. I think people are, sort of in that boat too, because the main comparison that will always be made for Fab is obviously MTG, and mechanic-wise, we're heading there. People don't want to see it, IP-wise, right? And it's gritty, it's dark. We go into it for the gory art. Anything else? No. For the gory art. So, yeah. It is what it is, but backed up, right? It's not Chowder with, a goofy-looking zombie. It's a nice-looking zombie. So, we'll forgive his name.